Good morning from Aquinas College on the east side of Grand Rapids, Michigan. We are delighted to welcome you to the 2019 NAIA Lacrosse Invitational. The men's bracket begins today with 4 quarterfinal matches, and the host school, the Aquinas Saints, gets us started matched up against Lawrence Tech. We are about ready to introduce starting lineups, and then we will begin the 2019 Lacrosse Invitational. 4 men's matches today in the quarterfinal round. The women's bracket gets started tomorrow. So the top 16 teams, 8 on the men's side, 8 on the women's side in NAIA Lacrosse, have gathered here in Greater Grand Rapids for a very decisive week to determine the invitational champion. It is the second year in a row that Aquinas College has hosted this event, but it's the first season that Aquinas has made the field. They are in the tournament for the first time in program history. This is just the 4th year there has been a men's lacrosse invitational. But Aquinas, of course, knowing that they were going to host in both 2018 and 2019, made a concerted effort to get to this tournament and to play in this tournament. And they had a send-off in the parking lot just off AQ Athletic Field about 45 minutes before this game began. This is an intra-divisional or an intra-conference showdown between Aquinas and Lawrence Tech. These two teams know each other very well. They're rivals in the Wolver Hoosier Athletic Conference, the WAC, the WHAC. And these teams played just about 3 weeks ago, as a matter of fact, right at this very field in the WAC semifinal round, a game that was won 14-10 by Lawrence Tech. So certainly these two teams are no strangers to each other, and they begin the quarterfinal of the men's invitational. Lawrence Tech in the blue helmets, white jerseys. Aquinas is in the red with white numbers and white helmets. Talked to some players and some administrative officials before this match between Aquinas and Lawrence Tech, and we asked, would you rather play a team that you're familiar with to get things started in the first round of an invitational tournament like this, or would you rather take on some fresh blood? Who cares? Everybody's just happy to be here at this point. It's a blustery morning on the southwest side of Michigan. We're expecting weather to be like this for much of the week, overcast and cloudy. Lawrence Tech makes its second appearance in the men's lacrosse invitational. We mentioned that this is Aquinas' first appearance. Lawrence Tech was here 2 years ago as the 7 seed, in fact. Back in 2017, they lost to Reinhardt 14-13. Reinhardt is in the tournament as well. Their quarterfinal is scheduled for later today, and they are the 1 seed this year. My name is Chris Fosters. It is great to be with you from Aquinas College. We'll be here through the championship rounds on Saturday for both men's and women's. Samuel Warner to take the face-off for Aquinas. And he wins it from Nick Kubik. And we are underway. Hard collision to start us off, and a bouncing ball trickles in the vicinity of Aquinas goaltender Clayton Boerichter, a native of Zeeland, Michigan, not too far from right here in Grand Rapids. Boerichter is a second-team WAC honoree this year, and he is opposed in goal across the way by Lawrence Tech's Joel Trent, who's from South Lyon, Michigan. So in addition to these two teams being very familiar with each other, playing in the same conference, this in many ways is an all-Michigan showdown. Both schools with rosters chocked full of players from the Wolverine State. Of course, Aquinas right here on the west side of Michigan, and Lawrence Tech checks in from Southfield, Michigan, north of Detroit. That was Jacob Flood, who passed up the shot attempt and got it back towards the 30-meter line. Aiden Nolan down to Maverick Muscat behind the net. He was shadowed by Matt Wagner. Lawrence Tech playing the perimeter now, just underway. Shot in and past Boerichter, and out of bounds along the end line with 28 seconds on the shot clock. It stays with Lawrence Tech. Jacob Flood has it, the sophomore from Belleville, Michigan. He had a huge game in the WAC semifinal against Aquinas. He scored 6 goals in a 14-10 win. Muscat back to Flood. Flood had Brendan Oles on the wing. Instead, he throws it back to Muscat, who picks up that bouncer, and it slips out of his cross. Now Aquinas scoops it up. They force the issue. Dan Dietrich, one of the top defenders in the entire country, a second-team All-American, scooped it up for Aquinas. And here come the Saints, looking to build a suspended offensive possession for the first time today. They are led by perhaps the best 1-2 punch in all of NAIA lacrosse. Cam Rogers, number 91, and his teammate Sam Klinsky, number 88, are 2 of the top point scorers in the country this year, as Aquinas head coach Doug Sates goes to his bench for the first time. That's Rogers with a shot, and it's blocked by Joel Trent, his first save of the morning. In transition, it's Lawrence Tech. Wyatt Nedball, the long stick midfielder. Back to Brendan Oles, who's one of Lawrence Tech's top goal scorers, and Paul Nemzek, Lawrence Tech's head coach, cycles some players in off his bench. Aiden Nolan. Back out to Damian Hudson, number 1 for Lawrence Tech, who's in off the bench for the first time. This is Justin Light. Light looking for a crease. And he takes Maverick Muscat's spot behind the net for now. He lost it. Good defense applied by Aquinas. It's still loose, and it's scooped up by Flood. Back to his feet now. Here he comes. Back behind the goal line, and out it comes to the 30-meter line. Hudson whips one past Bo Richter in goal for Aquinas, and it's out of bounds into the corner again. Just 7 seconds left on the shot clock at that point. Flood brings it back in. Flood took a tumble in the crease, and in comes our first flag. There was hard contact there. A push is the call, and we have our first penalty of this quarterfinal. Winner moves on to the semifinal round. Again, this is Aquinas' first appearance in the Men's Lacrosse Invitational. Year 4 that the NAIA has had a Men's Lacrosse Invitational.
Saints penalty, number 2, Sam Kanadu, 30 seconds for pushing.
So it's a 30-second penalty for pushing on Aquinas' Sam Asare Kanadu. And Lawrence Tech with an opportunity to open the scoring here in the quarterfinal. Just about 4 minutes gone by. Not only has there not been any scoring, there hasn't been many bona fide opportunities to score for either team for now. There's a one bouncer, again wide right of Bo Richter. It looks like Lawrence Tech is trying to hit that quadrant of the net. All 3 of their best shots have gone out of bounds into that corner, behind and to the right of Aquinas' netminder. Remember, a penalty in effect right now, and Bo Richter with an outstanding save. The long-haired goalkeeper out of Zeeland West High School, 5'10", and just a freshman. And Aquinas now triggers the break. Coming back the other way, there's a shot and a score for Sam Klinsky, the senior from Crystal Lake, Illinois. And it's Aquinas who turns defense into offense very quickly. Remember, Aquinas picked up a 30-second pushing penalty just moments ago. And instead it's Aquinas who gets the scoring going. Just under 4.5 minutes into the first quarter. Nick Kubik for Lawrence Tech, and Sam Werner for Aquinas right back on the X. Werner hiked it through his legs, but it's picked up by Lawrence Tech instead. Joseph Rosales was checked, and there's a flag. Cross-checking is the call. And so Aquinas picks up another penalty. And it's Samuel Werner, the face-off midfielder for Aquinas, who picks up the penalty. So even though Aquinas has the 1-goal lead in the first quarter, they have picked up 2 quick penalties, and now we'll see if Lawrence Tech can put one past Bo Richter with the man advantage. Aiden Nolan back out to the 30-meter line. This is Brendan Oles, one of the top goal scorers for Lawrence Tech, down to Maverick Muscat. He brings it back out in front, and that one is through and out of bounds up against the chain link fence. In it comes to Oles. Jacob Flood to Muscat. Flood probing, takes the shot, and it's just past the post. It caroms high into the air and again is out of play. It feels like the better part of this first quarter has been played on this side of the field. Lawrence Tech has controlled possession, thanks in part to 2 Aquinas penalties. Brendan Mullins over to Brendan Oles. The Brendans exchange just inside the black line. Mullins flips it to Flood, down to Muscat. There's a shot, and it's through the back end. Aquinas' defense has been on display early. And Aquinas was able to convert a turnover into a quick goal from Sam Klinsky. Shot clock running out. There's a shot from Nolan and a score. And Lawrence Tech, with the shot clock down to 2, ties things up. So that gets the Blue Devils bench involved. That's an unassisted goal as well. For Nolan, that's his 27th goal of the season. The sophomore from Clarkston, Michigan, on the east side of the state, is shooting at over a 30% clip this year. And we return to the X to resume play. So 1 up and 1 down now in the first quarter. And this time Warner wins the faceoff decisively for Aquinas. Werner takes it himself, down to Klinsky, who scores again. And Aquinas with a very quick answer to Lawrence Tech's goal just a few seconds ago.
Sam Klinsky with the assist to number 24, Sam Warner at 8:56.
So that has been a clockwork tandem for Aquinas this year. Samuel Werner, a first-team All-American, in large part because of his ability to win faceoffs like that. And he feeds his fellow first-team NAIA All-American Sam Klinsky, who now has 2 goals today and 46 on the season. It's been an outstanding year for Aquinas' offense. One of the best distributing teams in the country as well. 129 assists on the year, is second in NAIA. Aiden Nolan slams on the brakes and has some real estate now. Down to Muscat behind the net. Dylan Coleman shadows Aiden Nolan, Lawrence Tech's lone goal scorer today. 2 contrasting styles have distinguished this first quarter so far. Lawrence Tech more methodical, working in the half-field offense. Aquinas has had somewhat of a lightning attack. They've scored 2 goals very quick and lead 2-1. Here's Jacob Flood, who got a shot off, and Bo Richter was all over it. Might have nudged the cage a little bit, but the goaltender scoops it up and plays it out to Dan Dietrich on the wing. Here comes Aquinas. Sam Needham finds Cam Rogers, who gets hacked. No call, believe it or not, and Cam Rogers, who was chopped to his knees, is still pretty surprised that the referees kept the flag in their pockets there. There have been 2 penalties so far in the first quarter, by the way, both against Aquinas. Saints hang on to the ball. This is Klinsky looking for an assist, and that passes through, but backed up by Rogers. Klinsky now taking his time. Rogers looking for room, fires a shot, and it's wide. Joel Trent now seeing Aquinas' offense set up in front of him for the first time. Trent comes in with 155 saves in goal this year for Lawrence Tech. That's 5th most in the country. Rogers was nearly shoved off the ball that time by Brett Foley. He got a shot away, and Aquinas hangs on with just 9 seconds on the shot clock. Klinsky brings it back. 5 seconds on the shot clock. And Klinsky bails. Good defense for Lawrence Tech. Dylan Coleman back on the field for Aquinas. And here comes Damian Hudson, who checks back into the game for Lawrence Tech. Few more substitutions for both teams as Blake Baker sneaks onto the field for the first time for Aquinas. Wyatt Nedball, the long stick, brings it back into the offensive zone for Lawrence Tech. Jacob Flood, the left winger, back to Hudson. Here's Kuchar with the knee brace. He works his way inside the 30-meter line, throws it back to Muscat. Out it comes to Flood. Flood nearly slips through 2 maroon jerseys. That shot was contested. There are 2 flags from separate infractions on the field right now. Lawrence Tech hangs on to it, waiting for these delayed penalties. Lawrence Tech is going to have another fantastic opportunity with a man advantage to tie this game. Hudson with the deke takes the shot. What a save by Bo Richter. He has been tested early, and he's about to be tested again, as perhaps 2 penalties are coming down against Aquinas. Looked like we had interference for one of the penalties. So it's a 30-second interference against Aquinas. There was also an unnecessary roughness penalty called that will result in a 1-minute penalty. Matt Wagner for Aquinas picks up the unnecessary roughness, so he's gone for a minute. Jake Lee, the sophomore from Port Huron, was called for interference. So the penalty box has been stocked for Aquinas so far today. They still lead 2-1 as we work our way into the final third of the first quarter. Another fantastic save by Bo Richter. That was a hot shot from Brendan Mullins, the 6'2 sophomore. And the ball is skied all the way down onto Aquinas' end. Klinsky is able to pick up the ground ball. And he circles in front. And there's a pass and a great block by Joel Trent. Dylan Coleman looked like he had an open net for Aquinas. And that certainly fires up Lawrence Tech's bench, as Aquinas has been fantastic in transition today. But the Blue Devils deny that scoring bid. I mentioned these 2 teams played in the semifinal of the conference tournament on April 25th. Tech won 14-10. They also met in the regular season as conference foes in Southfield, Michigan, across the state. And Aquinas won that matchup. So the third meeting of the season between these 2 WAC rivals. And this is the tiebreaker with the most at stake. Wild shot from Jacob Flood. Winner moves on to the semifinal round on Friday. The women's quarterfinal takes place tomorrow. So the winner of all 4 quarterfinal matchups today will get a day off. Kuchar shoved off the ball. Oles dropped it. Quick to gather. Oles with a hopper, and that gets well over the crossbar of Clayton Boerichter. Lots of energy for this match, in part because Aquinas, the host school, is playing. Aiden Nolan with a snapshot, and it's out of bounds into the corner. 15 seconds on the shot clock. And here comes Jacob Flood. He scored 36 goals this year, but Aquinas has been all over him in the first quarter. That was Sam Asare-Kanadu applying defensive pressure there. Back to Flood, however, on a field from Oles. That shot is high right as the shot clock expired. And it's a turnover, Aquinas ball. A couple of fresh bodies cycle in for Paul Nemzek and Lawrence Tech, including Joseph Rosales, who was in the starting lineup today, and Alex Schluter, another starter. Here's Dietrich, long leg defender, gets it off to Cam Rogers. Klinsky, as a low-scoring first quarter draws to a close here. Aquinas entrenched in the half-field offense. Rogers looking for space. He's cut off. There's a shot and a score by Kevin Highshetter. The local product, the Grand Rapids native out of Forest Hills Northern High School, scores his 16th goal of the season. With 2:31 to play in the first period, Aquinas now has its largest lead of the quarterfinal, 3-1. From the X, Werner for Aquinas, Kubik for Lawrence Tech. Werner had it nearly, and it was plucked away by Kubik. Looked like Werner thought he had the ball, but in fact did not. Kubik is hounded in front of a predominantly Aquinas cheering section right now. Very physical on that side of the field, and Aquinas' support section absolutely loves it. There was some real scrappy defense there by Blake Baker, who picked up a penalty earlier in this first quarter. And Aquinas is ultra energized right now, coming up on the final 2 minutes of the first quarter. Boerichter out of goal right now. Right on the edge of the 8-meter circle, flips it up to midfield. Pulled down by Tyson Marsh. Here's Marsh. He was looking for Rogers on the wing. It wasn't there. Highshetter down to Rogers. And there's Klinsky. Klinsky peels it back behind the net. Aquinas showing some patience here. Knifing in. Tripped up in the crease. And that goal is waved off. A very close opportunity for Joey Fitzgerald. It looked like that one might have trickled through. Joel Trent was behind his own net there and got it off to a teammate as Lawrence Tech gives its goaltender some breathing room. Muscat. Out to Flood. Dylan Kuchar with a long-range shot that bounces just in front of Boerichter, and it's off into the corner. Again, Lawrence Tech has controlled the possession here in the first quarter, but it's Aquinas who's been able to find the back of the net, in spite of racking up 4 penalties in the first quarter. After the turnover, past Marsh, but scooped up deftly by Rogers. He shakes off 3 white jerseys and now charges down the spine, lobs it to Klinsky. There was nearly a redirect opportunity there. Marsh was very far out of goal, but Aquinas couldn't bring it back in front. That's the final second of the first quarter. That shot likely would not have counted by Klinsky. But we are underway in the first quarterfinal of 4 today. The men's portion of the NAIA Lacrosse Invitational underway. 2 rivals in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference, Aquinas and Lawrence Tech, get things started. And it's Aquinas who leads 3-1 after 1 quarter.
What I've learned the most from golf is to have integrity in everything you say and do.
One of the biggest lessons of that sports impacts my daily life is discipline.
Be a champion of character, it just means to realize first that you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Being a part of NAIA is something that I'm going to keep with me forever because it's not only made me a better athlete, but it's made me a better person.
The NAIA really just cares about their student athletes and just the experience in general at the school, and I think that's really important.
The NAIA stands for, has great core values. One that's most important to me is servant leadership. Being able to serve your community is a huge reason why I chose the NAIA.
I am a champion of character.
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 Welcome back to AQ Athletic Field on the campus of Aquinas College. Second quarter just underway in this quarterfinal round of the men's NAIA Lacrosse Invitational. 3-1 Aquinas, the host school, on top of conference rival Lawrence Tech. The Saints of Aquinas versus the Blue Devils of Lawrence Tech. Opposite ends of the divine spectrum going at it today for the right to move on to the semifinal. We switch sides in the second quarter as a flag flutters in. Shot was blocked out of the cross of Cam Rogers. It's still loose, and it's picked up by Lawrence Tech, and that officially brings the penalty into effect. Lawrence Tech was unpenalized in the first quarter, but this time they pick up an interference penalty against Joel Smith. That's a 30-second penalty, and the 5'7" sophomore from Romeo, Michigan, has a quick word with his coach, Paul Nemzek.
Blue Devil penalty on number 33, Joel Smith, 30 seconds for interference.
We'll see what Aquinas does with the man advantage. High Shedder, who scored one of 3 goals for Aquinas in the first quarter. It's circled back and down to Klinsky now, back to Cam Rogers, his battery mate, if you will. Both 40-plus goal scorers in the regular season for Aquinas. Klinsky got dangerously close to Joel Trent, and he finds Cam Rogers, who puts it home. And a celly to boot.
Saints goal for number 91
for Cam Rogers.
The assist to number 88 Sam Klinsky. Time of goal 13:47.
13:47 to go until halftime. It's now 4-1 Aquinas. They have scored 3 unanswered goals. And for Cam Rogers, the native of Windsor, Ontario, that is goal number 48 this year for the first-team All-American. His 93 points coming into today were already a school record here at Aquinas, so he's padding that record with a goal so far today. His teammate Sam Klinsky has had a whale of a game already, 2 goals and an assist. And it's Aquinas who wins the faceoff, and they can really put the squeeze on Lawrence Tech. Werner, the X-Man, gets it back out to Rogers, who tried to put home his second goal in about a minute. Wyatt Nedball, the long sticker, scoops it up and gets back to the action. That's through and out of bounds. Aquinas has Lawrence Tech out of rhythm right now as Sam Asare Kanadu lobs it back to Highshetter. Onto the wing. It's Rogers. Down to Klinsky. That's Joey Fitzgerald who collects on the wing. Cross on his shoulder, right in front of his own bench right now. Some tentative defense for Lawrence Tech. There's a ground ball. Hard contact. Lawrence Tech takes it away. Alex Schluter with an aggressive check. On a bouncer, Aiden Nolan has it. Backpedaling. Lawrence Tech is trying to end a 3-goal run for Aquinas. Here's Brendan Oles. Oles has yet to get going today. He scored 42 goals coming into the NAIA Invitational for Lawrence Tech. That's a top 10 mark in the country. Oles trying to get in on the fun. Instead, it comes around to Nolan. Back to Kuchar. At the point. Justin Light curls around. Takes a shove from Asare Kanadu. Kuchar knifes in. On a cross, that pass was tipped. Jacob Flood was knifing in. It looked like something was brewing for Lawrence Tech there. They hang on to it in the half field, inside the 30-meter now. It's Kuchar who takes the shot, and Bo Richter has been on his game so far today. Just a freshman. And he looks cool, calm, and collected on home turf for Aquinas. But a bad pass trickles out of play, and now Lawrence Tech's bench gets back to full throat. Jacob Flood down to Maverick Muscat. Damian Hudson, the freshman from Okemos, Michigan, drifts. Now inside 30 meters. Hudson takes the shot. It's high and wide. It stays with Lawrence Tech. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Just over 4 minutes into the second quarter, we've seen 1 goal scored in this quarter. And it belongs to Aquinas. Here's Muscat. Hudson on a drive. Takes the shot, and that one gets past Bo Richter. A much-needed goal for Lawrence Tech. They cut the lead in half. It's now 4-2.
Lead-level goal for number 1, Damian Hudson. Time of goal, 10:35.
So Damian Hudson, the freshman, scores a goal in the quarterfinal round of the NAIA Invitational. Product out of Okemos High School. Saw action in 15 games this year for Lawrence Tech coming in. That's his 13th goal. Out of the face-off, Werner gathers. Asare Kanadu, the long sticker. Now some pressure in the defensive zone by Lawrence Tech. And Lawrence Tech wins possession again on an errant pass out of bounds. That one escaped the cross of Jake Lee. And Lawrence Tech is trying to build off the momentum of a recent goal. Joel Trent, the goalkeeper, with it, passes up to midfield. Dan Dietrich applying defensive pressure for Aquinas. Here's Flood. Flips it back to 30 meters. Kuchar to Oles. From the point. Oles takes the shot. A bouncing ball past Bo Richter. And Lawrence Tech is starting to find its groove on offense.
Blue Devil goal, number 15, Brendan Oles gives the assist to number 17, Dylan Couture.
It's a one-goal game now. Aquinas led by as many as 3 goals earlier in this quarter, and 2 quick ones for Lawrence Tech have made this a 4-3 game. By the way, the scoreboard here at AQ Field, not graphically on our end, but the scoreboard at the field actually has Aquinas' point total under the home section, or the guest section, beg your pardon. Even though they are the host school, they are the guest on the scoreboard because they are the lower seed. This is the 3-6 matchup here to begin the quarterfinal. Lawrence Tech, the 3 seed, Aquinas, the 6 seed. Brett Foley needs some help. Gets it out to the long stick of Wyatt Nedball. Nedball kicks it up. And that's an infraction. It comes back to Aquinas. Aquinas looking for a quick strike. That was their MO in the first quarter in particular. Quick offense. And a timeout is taken by Aquinas, with suddenly the Saints looking a bit out of rhythm. A 2-goal spurt for Lawrence Tech has made the score 4-3 with 8:47 to play until halftime.
The NAIA would like to recognize a few more sponsors.
Again, it's the 4th year of the NAIA Men's Lacrosse Invitational and the Women's Lacrosse Invitational for that matter. This is an invitational sport by classification, which means that 25 or more institutions sponsor either men's or women's lacrosse at the intercollegiate varsity level. The hope one day is that participation in lacrosse at the NAIA level swells to over 40 institutions, and then the sport would receive national championship designation. Right now, however, national invitational. Coming out of the timeout taken by Aquinas. It's the Saints who put the ball back into play. Klinsky over to Rogers. Perhaps the 2 top scorers for Aquinas can get the Saints scoring again, looking to rebuild their lead over Lawrence Tech. Still in the first half. Semi-final bid on the line. Aquinas is making its first appearance in the NAIA Invitational. Lawrence Tech was here 2 years ago in 2017. In front, it's kicked around. Ground ball is picked up by Lawrence Tech. Joseph Rosales throws it back across to Wyatt Nedball. Brendan Oles. Off to Kuchar. Lawrence Tech looking to tie. There's a shot blocked away by Bo Richter. It trickles out past the 30-yard line, and it's contained by Oles. Muscat and Oles exchange. Kuchar on a drive. Oles with a snapshot, bounces past Bo Richter, who dropped down to one knee. Lawrence Tech brings it back. Kuchar, after a spin, denied. High pass off the cross of Hayden Flood. And here comes Aquinas after a good defensive stand. Jake Lee with a beautiful pass up to Nash West. West drifts down and finds Cam Rogers. Klinsky was dancing around behind the net, but he was covered up by Wyatt Nedball. Here's Highshetter, who scored a goal earlier today for Aquinas. Right back down to Klinsky. Highshetter after the cycle. Cuts in front. Bouncing ball popped up by Joel Trent. Another opportunity by Fitzgerald. He couldn't square up the shot. The ball was never really secure in his cross. And as the players encroach on the crease, Trent comes up with it for Lawrence Tech. Soft pass to Brett Foley. Foley with the lob. And it's scooped up by Oles after a bounce on the carpet. Kuchar onto the wing. And now it's Lawrence Tech who calls the timeout.
Timeout, Blue Devils. The NAIA would like to say thank you.
Paul Nemzek calls the timeout. He's in his second season. He's already won 19 games for Lawrence Tech, who qualified for the Invitational with an at-large bid. 8 spots available in the Men's Lacrosse Invitational. There are 4 automatic qualifiers, of course, awarded to conference champions, conference tournament champions. And then there are 4 at-large bids. So both Lawrence Tech and Aquinas qualified via at-large bid. Lawrence Tech ended up ranked 3rd in the final regular season men's lacrosse poll. Aquinas checked in at 6th, and so that is how the remaining at-large bids are assigned. You take the automatic qualifiers out of the equation, and then the 4 highest ranked teams in the final poll receive the at-large bids. We talked about how Aquinas and Lawrence Tech are rivals in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. And in some ways, the entire men's invitational feels like a segment, anyway, of the WAC conference tournament. There are 4 teams from the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference playing here at Aquinas this week. These two face off in the quarterfinal. Approaching the 5-minute mark until halftime. Still a 1-goal lead for Aquinas. Lawrence Tech tries to change that out of the timeout. Justin Light down to Kuchar. Oles back underneath to Muscat. Muscat in the crease. And that goal is waved off. Asare Kanadu with a beautiful feed up to Dietrich. Dietrich on a back pass to Rogers, who pulls down the shot, tried to bounce that one in, nearly got it to go. Fitzgerald races for it, scoops it up. It's dislodged by Ned Ball, who kicks it toward the sideline, and it's out of bounds. It stays with Aquinas. Bang, bang play there in the vicinity of Joel Trent, the goalie for Lawrence Tech. Klinsky. Fitzgerald with a lob back to the 30-yard line. Rogers to Klinsky now. Out to Fitzgerald. Aquinas passing in a circle right now. Rogers sits on it. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. He's shadowed by Brett Foley. Rogers with a high shot that bounces, in fact, completely out of the field of play. And it's brought back in by Klinsky. Kuchar gives him a rude greeting. Klinsky tries to shake him off. Wrap around, not there. A weak shot, scooped up by Trent. Foley brings it up to Light now for Lawrence Tech. Damian Hudson is back in the game for Lawrence Tech. He scored a goal earlier in the second quarter that sparked Lawrence Tech. They were down 4-1 earlier in the quarter. The Blue Devils have scored the game's last 2 goals, but the game has not been tied since the first quarter when it was 1-1. Muscat and Flood exchange behind the net. Muscat and Nolan, that is. Hudson looking for a crease. And that's a high feed. And Aiden Nolan can't bring it back down to the turf. Pass was right at the cleats of the long sticker. Asare Kanadu. There's a high tip pass, and Aquinas hangs onto it. Fortuitous bounce to Sam Needham. Fitzgerald took a shot in his grill, but he bounces it eventually through Jake Lee and on its way to Cam Rogers. Nash West goes for a jog. West still in possession. Inside 8 yards, that shot was wide. And Klinsky hauls it back in. Klinsky backpedaling. Good defense by Brendan Olds. Trent at the ready. Another bounce attempt. That shot with way too much elevation off the turf. But Aquinas hangs on, continuing to put pressure on Lawrence Tech's defensive end. That one gets through, and Lawrence Tech forces the turnover. Dylan Coleman checks back into the game for Aquinas. And his brother Connor is also on the field. Twins, as a matter of fact, both from Durango, Colorado. Lawrence Tech calls another timeout with 70 seconds remaining until halftime.
Hey fans, want to watch all of the
second timeout used by Paul Nemzek and Lawrence Tech.
Check out the official video home at NAIAnetwork.com. There are over 10,000 live events throughout the course of the year. So go to NAIAnetwork.com to watch all of these exciting.
Both of these teams were evenly matched in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference this year. Lawrence Tech finished 6-2 in conference. Aquinas posted a 7-1 mark.
For the love of the game, register to get in the
Aquinas finished second in the conference this year. Lawrence Tech third in the regular season, but Lawrence Tech, thanks to a good showing in the conference tournament, a loss to Indiana Tech, in the conference tournament championship, rocketed all the way up to number 3 in the final regular season poll. And were awarded the 3 seed. This is the 3-6 matchup, and even though Lawrence Tech has the higher seed, it might feel like a road game for the Blue Devils as they have to take on the host school, Aquinas. Aquinas has partnered with the West Michigan Sports Commission to host the tournament back-to-back years. They hosted last year as well. Out of the timeout, it's Lawrence Tech ball. Put back into play by Brendan Oles. Brendan Mullins with it now. Shoved off the ball by Coleman. Maverick Muscat. Hudson. Hudson still with it. Oles with a crease. And he was stripped in the shot motion. Nifty pass by Jake Lee back to his goalkeeper, Bo Richter. And Aquinas looks to bring it out. Dan Dietrich, the second-team All-American. Final 5 seconds until halftime now. Will Aquinas sit on it? Yes. Cam Rogers with the final pass of the first half. A defensive struggle here through the first half. Aquinas led by as many as 3 goals earlier in the second quarter. Lawrence Tech scored the final 2 salvos of the opening half, but it's still Aquinas who leads Lawrence Tech 4-3 as we come upon the 10-minute intermission. An evenly contested quarterfinal. What would you expect as we get the NAIA Men's Lacrosse Invitational underway? A semifinal bid on the line. We'll return with more from AQ Athletic Field after this.
When a lot of people think of the NAIA, they think, oh, the talent level is less. The talent level is not as great. That is just not true. You know, there's some great athletes out here that maybe didn't have the size or the athletic ability to play at D1 or D2, but the talent level out here is tremendous. If I could give anybody advice or pitch that to anybody, I'd say give the NAIA a chance. It's a great place to play.
What I've learned the most from golf is to have integrity in everything you say and do.
One of the biggest lessons of that sports impacts my daily life is discipline.
Be a champion of character. It just means to realize first that you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Being a part of NAIA is something that I'm going to keep with me forever because it's not only made me a better athlete, but it's made me a better person.
The NAIA really just cares about their student athletes and just the experience in general at the school, and I think that's really important.
The NAIA stands for, has great core values. One that's most important to me is servant leadership. Being able to serve your community is a huge reason why I chose the NAIA.
I am a champion of character.
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 When a lot of people think of the NAIA, they think, oh, the talent level is less. The talent level is not as great. That is just not true. You know, there's some great athletes out here that maybe didn't have the size or the athletic ability to play at D1 or D2, but the talent level out here is tremendous. If I could give anybody advice or pitch that to anybody, I'd say give the NAIA a chance. It's a great place to play.
What I've learned the most from golf is to have integrity in everything you say and do.
One of the biggest lessons of that sports impacts my daily life is discipline.
Be a champion of character. It just means to realize first that you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Being a part of NAIA is something that I'm going to keep with me forever because it's not only made me a better athlete, but it's made me a better person.
The NAIA really just cares about their student athletes and just the experience in general at the school, and I think that's really important.
The NAIA stands for, has great core values. One that's most important to me is servant leadership. Being able to serve your community is a huge reason why I chose the NAIA.
I am a champion of character.
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 When a lot of people think of the NAIA, they think, oh, the talent level is less. The talent level is not as great. That is just not true. You know, there's some great athletes out here that maybe didn't have the size or the athletic ability to play at D1 or D2, but the talent level out here is tremendous. If I could give anybody advice or pitch that to anybody, I'd say give the NAIA a chance. It's a great place to play.
What I've learned the most from golf is to have integrity in everything you say and do.
One of the biggest lessons of that sports impacts my daily life is discipline.
Be a champion of character, it just means to realize first that you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Being a part of NAIA is something that I'm going to keep with me forever because it's not only made me a better athlete, but it's made me a better person.
The NAIA really just cares about their student athletes and just the experience in general at the school, and I think that's really important.
The NAIA stands for, has great core values. One that's most important to me is servant leadership. Being able to serve your community is a huge reason why I chose the NAIA.
I am a champion of character.
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 A look at some of the first half highlights between Aquinas and Lawrence Tech in the first of 4 quarterfinal matches here today at Aquinas College. The host school has been in front for the majority of this one so far. It was tied 1-1 at one point in the first quarter. Aquinas eventually built a 3-1 lead after one period, and even though Lawrence Tech outscored the Saints 2-1 in the second quarter, it's still a 1-goal lead for Aquinas as we get ready to start the third quarter. The big guns for Aquinas had a pretty good half. Sam Klinsky with 2 goals and an assist. Cam Rogers with 1 goal and 1 assist. The pair of All-American attackers for Aquinas. But this is Damian Hudson, who scored a big goal for Lawrence Tech in the second quarter and stemmed the tide with Lawrence Tech down at that point 4-1. Lawrence Tech scored the final 2 goals of the second quarter to make this a very compelling 1-goal affair. Good defense on display for both teams, as it's Nick Kubik who wins the faceoff for Lawrence Tech. He's off to the races. He takes the shot and bounces it to the right of Clayton Boerichter, the freshman goalkeeper for Aquinas, who saved 6 shots in the first half. Lawrence Tech still with possession in the offensive zone. It's Dylan Kuchar who drifts and now darts inside the 30-yard line. Brendan Oles, who is held scoreless in the first half. He scored over 40 goals in the regular season for Lawrence Tech, and that does include the postseason conference tournament. He has it again. He spins and cannot get by Dan Dietrich, so he finds Kuchar, his teammate, instead. Maverick Muscat. Right at 8 yards. "15 seconds on the shot clock for Lawrence Tech. That one nearly intercepted. Muscat hangs on, finds Jacob Flood. Oles on a drive, the shot, and what a save by Boerichter. He scooped that one up, and now Dan Dietrich leads the charge for Aquinas. In space, Rosales a late sub, and that one was off the stick of Sam Klinsky. He had a shot brewing and maybe thought he had the ball in his cross a split second too soon. That was how Aquinas scored its first couple of goals today, on breaks like that, and it's fumbled out of bounds by Lawrence Tech, and Aquinas hangs on. Joey Fitzgerald looking for a teammate, finds Klinsky. Klinsky is cut off, throws it back in front. Two minutes gone by in the third quarter. No scoring so far since halftime. Nash West takes the shot and scores. Nash West, a contested shot, but the sophomore from Brighton, Michigan, puts it home. That's his 17th goal of the season.
Time of goal, 12:53, unassisted.
And they say that's an unassisted goal, and for good reason. He was dancing around with that one for a while. So it's Aquinas who strikes first after halftime, and they lead 5-3 now. And it's Werner who wins the faceoff for Aquinas. Bullrichter, way outside of 8 yards. That's lobbed to center. Aquinas again. On a drive, it was stripped. Excellent defense by Lawrence Tech. Joel Smith with the takeaway, and then a flag flies in. And it's going to go against Aquinas. It appears to be a push. Yes, it's a 30-second penalty on Samuel Werner, the face-off midfielder for Aquinas. So he's put away for 30 minutes. Aquinas was penalized 4 times in the first half. Lawrence Tech really didn't do much with it. 2 of their 3 goals in the second quarter were even strength. What about now? Aiden Nolan. Mullins with a pass to Oles. Brendan Mullins gets it right back. Nolan whips one across the net. And out of bounds, weak side. Every goal so far today has been even strength, as a matter of fact. Mullins harassed. Pass in front, shot by Oles, and he got that one through. On a beautiful feed by Maverick Muscat. And so Lawrence Tech makes it a 1-goal game again, 5-4 now.
Brandon Oles give the assist to number 9, Maverick Muscat. Time of goal, 11:26.
Maverick Muscat doing what he does best, and that is distributing the ball. One of the best assist men in the country this year. He comes into the quarterfinal averaging just under 2 assists per game. And that was his 32nd assist of the year. Ground ball, and it's picked up by Kubik. Werner lost his stick. Kubik driving inside 30 yards, and he runs out of steam. It's flipped back to Alex Schluter. Here's Schluter, who bounces one. It's loose. Schluter nearly got it back, and it's scooped up out of the 8-foot circle momentarily by Aquinas. Ball is skittering all over the place, and here is Sam Asare Kanadu, who's checked inside the circle, but hangs onto it. Now darting in the long stick. Mitty takes the shot and does it all himself. Now we're rolling here in the second half. It's 6-4 Aquinas.
Saints goal for number 2, Sam Asare Kanadu, unassisted at 11:26.
How about that? 2 unassisted goals for Aquinas in the third quarter. When these two teams met in late April in the conference semifinal, the final score was 14-10. The first half today in the NAIA Invitational quarterfinal is not on pace to be that low scoring, but right now it's 6-4. We've seen 3 goals already within the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, and now the physicality has been dialed up several notches following the face-off. Finally a whistle and play is stopped. And both benches included now a little bit heated. And the assistant coaches for both teams just telling everybody to cool it a little bit. Here's Damian Hudson with Lawrence Tech. Aiden Nolan swings it around to Muscat. 32 assists now for Muscat. He came into the quarterfinal third in NAIA rankings in assists this year. One-hop shot from Damian Hudson as he was going for his second goal of the day. Hudson and Oles at the point. Oles spinning the stick, takes the shot, finds the back of the net, and look out, Brendan Oles is heating up for Lawrence Tech. 2 goals for Oles after a scoreless first half. That runs his season total out to 44. The senior out of Warren Cousineau is a volume shooter as well. He averages 8.7 shots per game, so it's in Lawrence Tech's best interest if he is taking shots, and he has done that here in the third quarter. Lawrence Tech has repeatedly made this a 1-goal game, but they have not been able to tie things up since it was 1 apiece. Kubik back to Justin Light. Oles back on the field for Lawrence Tech, gets that pass from Light and is on the charge. Knocked down. Good defense by Blake Baker, the freshman for Aquinas, and it eventually leads to a spilled ball. So Aquinas tightens the screws on defense. Here's Connor Coleman back to the goalkeeper, Clayton Boerichter. Off a bounce, it's scooped up by Baker again. Highshetter with the deke. Looking for an option. Pulls the trigger and bounces that one wide to the right of Trent. Joel Trent barking at his defense right now as Aquinas reloads. Here's Sam Klinsky on the handoff to Highshetter. Highshetter might have had a sliver working his way towards Joel Trent, but he was quickly closed off by Dylan Kuchar. Highshetter back to his feet. Broken cross. Kuchar has to run over to the sideline right now for Lawrence Tech. And now they get the man back on the field. Bouncing ball by Nash West, who scored a goal earlier today. He spikes his cross into the turf. Frustrated at that poor shot attempt. Aquinas was basically playing with a man up for a few seconds there after Kuchar broke his stick. Klinsky with the spin. Klinsky still with it. Here's Highshetter. Rosales on defense. By the way, it was Alex Schluter who came onto the field for Lawrence Tech after the broken stick of Dylan Kuchar. Rosales kicks that one into the crease, and it's scooped up by Trent. He leaks it out to Schluter, the senior from Oxford, on a dead sprint. Pass in front. Shot wide and rolled towards the back line from Maverick Muscat. It stays with Lawrence Tech. Flood and Hudson now. A whistle as the shot clock was not reset or needed to be reset. Looked like the shot clock just didn't start. So here we go now. Lawrence Tech still in control. Aiden Nolan. Muscat looking for another assist. Maybe he'll take this one himself. Shovels it off to Nolan after he was denied. Bo Richter with the save. On the shot by Brendan Mullins. Hudson. Over halfway through the third quarter now, Lawrence Tech is looking to tie. There's a shot by Flood, and it's high and wide. Extended sequence in the offensive zone for Lawrence Tech. Can they tie this one up? Muscat, who had the assist on the previous goal for Lawrence Tech. Damian Hudson. Shifty maneuver. 5-7, he shoots and puts it up against the back banner. There's a tumble as Aiden Nolan had his legs cut out from underneath him. He's slow to get up. Dan Dietrich up the sideline, pumping the arms. This is how Aquinas has scored several goals so far today, behind Klinsky, who's re-engaged now with the ball back in the offensive zone for Aquinas. Dietrich, the defender. Joey Fitzgerald retreats to the wing, lobs it to Cam Rogers. The big guns for Aquinas. Rogers, number 91, Klinsky, number 88, have been quiet so far in the second half. That's a bad pass from Rogers, but Klinsky backs it up. And Aquinas is able to hang on to it. What a beautiful pass in front, and an even better save by Joel Trent. Blake Baker had a one-on-one opportunity with the Lawrence Tech goalie, and Trent rose to the occasion. After a 4-save first half for Joel Trent, that one was maybe his finest of the quarterfinal. It springs the break for the Blue Devils. Damian Hudson shadowed by Jake Lee for Aquinas. Hudson engages now. Spins around Lee. No one open in front for Lawrence Tech. Justin Light darting around to Jacob Flood. Flood with a shot over the shoulder. A save by Bo Richter. Muscat. Here's Mullins with space and a save by Bo Richter. Out it comes to Blake Baker. And a 4-on-4 right now. Reinforcements from the Lawrence Tech bench. Baker down to Nash West. Final 4 minutes of the third quarter. West takes it himself. He's knocked down, and the ball squirts free. Somehow it got right back to Joel Trent. And he waits for the traffic to clear. Here's Brett Foley. First of 4 quarterfinals today as the men's portion of the NAIA Lacrosse Invitational gets underway. Indiana Tech and Kaiser University to follow in the second quarterfinal match. This has been a close one throughout. We saw 3 goals scored in relatively short order coming out of the locker room after halftime, and things have settled down since then. Tech still trying to tie. Oles. Dietrich stuck to him like glue. Oles got a shot off, and Bo Richter closed it down. This is Matt Wagner, the sophomore from right here in Grand Rapids. Wielding the long stick. He's surrounded and eventually gives it up. Cam Rogers, defended by Foley, swats at him a couple of times. Rogers around Foley. What a pass, and it's kicked around by Tyson Marsh, the senior who gathers his own miss. Rogers tries it again, final 2 minutes of the third quarter. Good defense by Foley. He throws it across to Fitzgerald, who couldn't handle it. Fitzgerald trying to track it down. And he does, in fact, win the ball. Nearly an interception at the 30-yard line. It's plucked off the ground. And again, another issue with the shot clock momentarily pauses play. Here we go now. There's a shot and a save by Trent. Across midfield, Brendan Mullins slips. Asare Kanadu issued a ground ball, but Damian Hudson was there to pick it back up for Lawrence Tech. Another grounder, and this time it's scooped up by Aquinas. Here is Highshetter in the final minute of the third. Momentum building. Highshetter looking to his right, finds Rogers. That shot is off the elbow of Trent. Trent sits on it for a moment. Down to 40 seconds left in the third. Shifty maneuvering by Joel Smith. Now to Alex Schluter. And offsides. Maybe one last chance for Aquinas in the closing seconds of the third. Fitzgerald, the shot and the score. Fitzgerald, the 5'10", 160-pounder from Plymouth, Michigan, with an unassisted goal, and a huge one with 16 seconds left in the third quarter to reestablish a multi-goal lead for the Aquinas Saints. That broke a bit of a stalemate that had prevailed from about the midway point of the third quarter until just now. Werner comes on to take the face-off and wins it for Aquinas. Werner hangs onto it around Joseph Rosales. 5 seconds left. Werner, one last chance to Cam Rogers, who got the shot in before the buzzer sounded. What a finish to the third quarter for Aquinas. They score 2 goals in the final 20 seconds. And who's to say, if Aquinas goes on to win this quarterfinal, you might point back to that final stretch of the third quarter in which Aquinas turned a 6-5 lead into an 8-5 lead. We'll be back for the fourth quarter in a moment.
Both inside.
Well, the third quarter between Aquinas and Lawrence Tech ended in a flurry. 2 quick goals scored by the Saints to make the total 8-5 as we begin the final 15 minutes. Up until the final, literally 16 seconds of the third quarter, Lawrence Tech had been going toe-to-toe with Aquinas. It was a very even third quarter, and it's been an even game for that matter. It was 4-3 at halftime. 6-5 for much of the third quarter. But Aquinas on a 2-goal run now, and they win the opening faceoff of the fourth quarter as well. And they have a chance to go up by their largest lead of the day. Highshetter winds up, and a fastball goes up against the fence. It was Cam Rogers who scored the final goal of the third quarter with not much more than a second on the clock. On a drive, a shot bounces wide. Nash West was denied his second goal of the day. A reminder, after this game ends, we'll reset the field and play our second quarterfinal game at 1 o'clock Eastern Time between Indiana Tech and Kaiser. After the Aquinas turnover, Lawrence Tech nearly gives it right back. Wyatt Nedball able to secure it. Here's Alex Schluter. Tech just looking for a goal here to stop the run for Aquinas. They withstood Aquinas' first offensive possession of the fourth, and now look to get settled in the offensive zone. Here's Justin Light. A flag has just been dropped near midfield. Here's Light. Maverick Muscat. Back to Light again. Lee follows him down to Nolan, whips it past to Jacob Flood, who's knocked down, tries to fumble a shot away. It's loose and kept up by Brendan Oles of Lawrence Tech. Light with a bouncer. Out of play. So a 1-minute penalty has been issued against Aquinas.
Penalty on number 11, Joey Fitzgerald. 1 minute for unnecessary roughness.
Unnecessary roughness is the call against Joey Fitzgerald. So if there's an opening for Lawrence Tech to get back in this game, it would be if Aquinas continues to pick up penalties. There's a shot from Nolan. Boerichter nearly trapped it up against the post, but it got by him. And Lawrence Tech absolutely capitalizes on the unnecessary roughness penalty. And there is still plenty of time left in this game for Lawrence Tech to put all the pressure it needs to apply on Aquinas. Second goal of the day for Aiden Nolan, the sophomore from Clarkston. 28 goals this year for the sophomore. Shooting at over 30%. Can Lawrence Tech win a face-off here? That would be huge. Kubik working for it, and it's picked up by Rosales with the long stick. Rosales is double-teamed. Fantastic defense by Aquinas, and here comes Blake Baker. So that winning face-off was short-lived for Lawrence Tech. Winner moves on to the semifinal. Down behind the net to Klinsky. Here's Tyson Marsh. Cam Rogers, the All-American. School record, 93 points coming into this game. He's got 2 goals so far today. Klinsky has had a great morning as well. Rogers around Foley. Hangs onto the ball. He's double-teamed, pirouetting around. He eventually lost it. There's either a dropped or a broken stick on the carpet right now. Klinsky brings it back into play, gets it right back from Cam Rogers. Klinsky. Rogers throws it down to Baker, who puts it high and wide around Joel Trent. Blake Baker with just his 7th goal of the year puts Aquinas back up by 3 here in the 4th quarter.
10-39.
And a fantastic assist by Cam Rogers, who's been doing it all so far for Aquinas. No surprise for Saints fans. Rogers 5th in NAIA Lacrosse in goals scored this year. He's the nation's leader in assists. Picks up another helper there on the goal by Blake Baker. Warner does his job, wins that faceoff for Aquinas. Long pass scooped up by Needham. Right back to Rogers. He cuts around Foley. Foley keeps a stick on him, and here is Kevin Heischetter. New troops on the field for Aquinas. This is Corby Haley, the senior from Grand Rapids. Forest Hills Eastern High School. Haley makes his move. Fitzgerald puts it home. And Aquinas is feeling it now.
Saints goal for number 11, Joey Fitzgerald. Give the assist to number 11.
Second goal of the day for Fitzgerald. Haley picks up the assist. That's Haley's third assist of the year. And for Fitzgerald, 2 goals today brings his season total up to 18. Lawrence Tech, meanwhile, has... Well, they called a timeout because the goalkeeper, Joel Trent, has opened up a gash on his right knee. So the athletic trainer for Lawrence Tech puts on a pair of latex gloves and will take a look at Joel Trent. Lawrence Tech does carry 3 goalies on its roster. This is not a serious injury. The timeout should be enough to tape up Joel Trent and get him back out there for the final 9:47. But it is 10-6 Aquinas in front of Lawrence Tech. And you get the sense that every step Lawrence Tech has made to keep this close, Aquinas has been there with an even bigger answer. This was a 1-goal game until very late in the third quarter. Aquinas scored 2 goals in the final seconds of the third quarter to go up 8-5. And even though Lawrence Tech picked up a goal to begin the fourth quarter scoring, Aquinas has answered with 2 more goals of its own. They lead 10-6. Again, this is the third meeting of the season between these well-versed rivals. Aquinas won at Lawrence Tech in the regular season. Lawrence Tech won here in the conference semifinal. And they meet again at AQ Athletic Field for the right to move on to the NAIA Invitational semifinal on Friday. Aquinas has a tradition here. They host a send-off party or parade or celebration for all of their teams who compete in national tournaments. And they had a send-off for their lacrosse team today, but it was right here. They simply just welcomed them out of the student center and onto the field. Dan Dietrich fighting for that ground ball out of the face-off. Joseph Rosales has a stick in there for Lawrence Tech, and it's finally scooped up by Alex Schluter. Maverick Muscat jogs outside the 30-yard line. Still 9 minutes and change left. Lawrence Tech still very much in this game, but work to be done. Kuchar down behind the goal line. This is Muscat again. Nolan back out to Kuchar. Here's Brendan Oles. 2 goals already today for Lawrence Tech, looking for a third. Around Dietrich. Shot was not there. And he passes it off to Light, who whistles one wide of the goal. Kuchar fakes the pass, now gets it away. This is Muscat, who tried to ground one into the goal, but it stays with Lawrence Tech after going out of play. Nolan dropped the ball, picks it up, pass wide of Flood. Kept inside 30 yards by Oles, and that one is popped up into the air. And it belongs to Aquinas. Bo Richter harassed by Flood, and the goalie finally gives it up. In the long stick of Matt Wagner now, and it's taken away by Brett Foley. Schluter to Nolan. Behind the net, Muscat. No one there in front. He finds Light. Brendan Mullins back on the field for Lawrence Tech. Mullins charges down to Nolan, around to Muscat. The two-play catch. Out to Hudson, who has gotten things going for Lawrence Tech in the half-field offense at times today. What about now? Around the much taller defender, Dan Dietrich. Justin Light knifes his way in, knocked over, and that bouncing ball goes wide, but Lawrence Tech stays on it. Scooped up by Hudson. Nothing has come easy for Lawrence Tech on offense today, but Damian Hudson has been a bright spot. His second goal of the day. Hudson sparked Lawrence Tech's offense in the second quarter when he scored his first goal. A little bit of a Euro step for Hudson on his celebration, and for that matter on his goal-scoring drive. It's once again a 3-goal game now, 10-7. Lawrence Tech is down by 3. One advantage for Aquinas. They have an All-American X-Man in Samuel Werner. And it feels like he has won the majority of the faceoffs against Nick Kubik. That's a ground ball that's popped up in Lawrence Tech's offensive zone, and it comes down to Schluter. Can Lawrence Tech strike while the iron's hot? Substitutions for both teams. Lawrence Tech trying to take advantage. There was a shot by Nolan. A one-timer off a feed from Justin Light. Ball stays with Lawrence Tech. 6+ minutes left. Flood denied. There's a shot from Oles that bounces past Bo Richter. Muscat and Nolan looking for an opening in front. Hudson again looking for a hat trick at this point. Oles is doing the same thing. He's got 2 goals too. Muscat looking for something just outside of the crease. Hudson with a pump, and it goes back to Justin Light. Oles winds up. That bounces past Bo Richter to his left. And with 7 seconds on the shot clock, it's scooped up by Muscat, who charges to the net, gets towards the crease, and is closed off by Bo Richter. Bo Richter scoops that one up with 1 second left on the shot clock. That was an impressive defensive stand by Aquinas. They've been able to do that all morning. Lawrence Tech has never gotten on a true run so far today, but there's an interception. Muscat knocked over. 2 flags fly in. That presumably is a cross check. We'll see what the official call is, but the referees were zeroed in on that play. There was a flag that came in from the midfield official and another who was on the opposite side of the field. It is a push, not a cross check.
Saves penalty on number 23, Jake Lee. 30 seconds for pushing.
A 30-second penalty that goes against Jake Lee, the sophomore from Port Huron. Lawrence Tech scored on a penalty, or in the aftermath of an Aquinas penalty earlier in this half. Flood down to Muscat. Pass in front. There's the shot, and it's way high, over the crossbar, in fact. Muscat brings it back to Nolan. Here's Oles. Flood after a bobble. Lost it. Highsheder picks up the bouncing ball. Highsheder is swarmed by white jerseys and finally finds Dan Dietrich. Long pass past Samasare Kanadu, and it goes back to Lawrence Tech. Oles, nearly 4 minutes remaining. Lawrence Tech still has time. A goal here would be huge. An even better save by Bo Richter. He's been excellent today, holding a very good Lawrence Tech offense to just 7 goals so far. Lawrence Tech scored 204 goals on the season coming into today, the 5th most in NAIA. Lawrence Tech averaging nearly 13 goals per game as Aquinas calls the timeout. And they have been held well below that mark by the stout defense of the Aquinas Saints, and in particular, Clayton Bo Richter in goal. Bo Richter begins his college career as a second-team All-WAC honoree. Based on his performance today, you'd have to think that first team is in his future. Again, just a freshman. And he now is having a word with his head coach, Doug Seitz, who's in his 6th season at Aquinas. Seitz played here, as a matter of fact, for 3 seasons. He graduated from Aquinas in 2010. He was a midfielder.
65,000 student athletes.
And Aquinas has tied its program record for wins in a season with 10. They are 10-4 coming into the NAIA Invitational. So they are 3 minutes and 43 seconds away from a school record 11th win this season. Bo Richter jogs back to the net. And play resumes on the opposite end of the field. Lawrence Tech has been in control of the ball for what feels like a solid couple of minutes, but they've only been able to put one past Bo Richter in that frame. Aquinas still enjoys a 3-goal lead, and they have the ball now out of the timeout. Here's Haley dancing around. Tyler Sinkowitz tracks his every move. Joey Fitzgerald with it now. Pursued by Joel Smith. Fitzgerald cuts it back. Back to the net. Back inside the box, down to one knee, quickly back on 2 feet. Great defense by Smith. Fitzgerald ends up sitting on the ball. And Aquinas is awarded the ball. Cam Rogers. Back to Sam Klinsky. Joey Fitzgerald and Aquinas looking to bleed some clock right now. 2.5 minutes left. Another goal wouldn't be bad either, however, but Fitzgerald lost the handle. Joe Rosales nearly turned it right back over. Rosales up to Oles. The time has to be now for Lawrence Tech. Oles fighting for it, and it's scooped up by Jacob Flood. And Paul Nemzek calls a timeout from Lawrence Tech's bench. This is the invitational debut for Aquinas. The first time they have qualified for the Men's Lacrosse Invitational. This is year 4 of lacrosse as an invitational sport at the NAIA level. Lawrence Tech is also looking for its first win in the Invitational. They lost to Reinhardt as a 7 seed 2 years ago. This year, Lawrence Tech came into the Invitational tournament as a 3 seed. On the verge of being upset by Aquinas here in the quarterfinal round. You might put air quotations around that because Aquinas is playing on its home field. So even though Aquinas is the higher seed, they have the benefit of home field advantage. Indiana Tech and Kaiser to follow at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Both teams are on campus. Saw their buses drop them off earlier in this match. So they're raring to go. Maverick Muscat with a pass to Oles. Here's Kuchar. Kuchar drifts, and it's swung around the net. Muscat to Nolan. Back to Kuchar. He did not pull the trigger. Flood tries to split 2 maroon jerseys, and that shot is way high and up against the screen. Oles, final 90 seconds now. Lawrence Tech down by 3. Bad pass. It's won by Aquinas. Needham has it chopped away. And it comes back to Lawrence Tech. Oles, Muscat, Kuchar, Nolan. A score. Lawrence Tech not done yet. With 63 seconds left, Aiden Nolan picks up his 3rd goal of the morning.
The assist to number 15, Brendan Oles. Time of goal, 1:03.
Brendan Oles picks up the assist. And for Aiden Nolan, the sophomore, he has 29 goals on the season now. Lawrence Tech has to win this faceoff. No easy task for Nick Kubik, the sophomore from Chicago. Off the bounce, Kubik has it. Down to Muscat. And a timeout called by Lawrence Tech. 53 seconds left, a huge face-off won by Lawrence Tech. They'll draw something up in the huddle with a chance to make this a 1-goal game. Samuel Werner comes back to the Aquinas bench a little bit heated after Aquinas coughed that face-off up. Paul Nemzek with some words for his troops. He led Lawrence Tech to its first conference crown last year. They finished 3rd in the regular season this year in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. They lost to Indiana Tech in the conference tournament championship. Nemzek has been with the program since 2016. He joined as an assistant coach. And again, took over the reins last year as the head coach. Red towels waving for Aquinas, their cheering section that is, across the way. as we buckle up for the final 53 seconds. Here's Hudson. Muscat. Kuchar. Score! It's a one-goal game with 42 seconds left.
Another goal for number 17, Dylan Couture. Give the assist to number 9, Maverick Muscat.
Maverick Muscat picks up another assist. And how about Lawrence Tech putting together a run in the final minutes? For Kuchar, that's his first goal of the game. He's a sophomore from Heartland, Michigan. Goal number 21 on the season for Kuchar. He let that one rip. Remember, Lawrence Tech won the last face-off. That's the ultimate equalizer in lacrosse. You're down, but you keep winning face-offs, and you keep your team in possession of the ball. That's your ticket to get back into a game, and that's the formula that Lawrence Tech has been able to use here in the waning moments of regulation. Right now, Paul Nemzek is having a word with the officials. He's not happy about something. But we're ready for the face-off. Still a 10-9 game. Aquinas led by as many as 4 goals earlier in this fourth quarter. It was 10-6 at one point, and Lawrence Tech looked like it was in trouble. But they have shown some moxie to make this a one-goal game. But that face-off is won by Werner. A flag coming in. Werner had his face mask grabbed. The ball is still loose. Here's Wagner trying to idle now, with under 30 seconds left. Needham hangs on to it. Penalty coming for Aquinas, remember. Rogers with 8 seconds left. Aquinas closing in on its first win in its debut game in the NAIA Invitational. It's official now.
Congratulations to the Aquinas College Saints. They march on.
On its home field, the Aquinas Saints withstand a late charge by Lawrence Tech in the fourth quarter and move on to the semifinal of the men's invitational tournament. 10-9, the final score. And with that, the men's invitational tournament is underway here at Aquinas College. This was a fantastic game. 10-9 the final score, just a one-goal difference between these two WAC rivals. Aquinas moves on to the semifinal. They play Friday after a day off tomorrow to get the women's portion of the bracket underway. But for the remainder of today, we still have 3 more games remaining. And that threesome begins with a 1 o'clock showdown between Indiana Tech and Kaiser. We will have that game for you right here on the NAIA network. So until then, we say so long for now from Aquinas College. 10-9 Aquinas over Lawrence Tech to get the NAIA Men's Lacrosse Invitational underway with the quarterfinal round. This has been a presentation of the Turbo Sports Media Group.